offices are on the executive committee. In fact, the president will appoint or recommend the individuals to fill those officers. The executive committee must vote to approve. So the executive committee does not bring individuals to say, I want to vote on this person. The executive committee waits for the president to put forth individuals that they will bring to the committee, and then the committee then votes to approve them. To decide matters of unit policy subject to endorsement by the unit in accordance with national policy. Well, that's, we don't work unilaterally. That's the president and vice president and secretary, the executive committee, and your general membership. There's still things that have to go before all of them. If perchance you are looking at bringing on an executive director of your branch, and this only applies to executive directors. If you are looking to bring on an executive director and you have not had one in your office before, those contracts need to be approved by the national office. And there's a very simple reason why. We want to make sure that A, we don't breach any employment laws. B, that you have the funding to pay for them. And so those employees are employees of the local branch. However, the role needs to be approved by the national office. Okay.
There's a question I have.
Sure.
Craig Ali, Santa Monica, Venice.
Hello there.
Greetings. The chairman has a AFIA shirt on, and it brings me to remind us of our association with the Divine Nine. Okay. And when we look at, various fraternities and sororities, let's say at UCLA, how does if indeed there is a youth and college division at, let's say, UCLA, are they assigned a parent chapter, and would that be geographic, or would that be the city's responsibility to see to it that their issue is taken care of?
Oh, good question. It should be geographic. However, let's say it's a branch, the state then should have someone to look through that. The state should have a college advisor. A youth and college advisor. If that person is in place, and I'm sure that I know that California has it, that person then oversees the process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a question too before you get too much further? My name is Miss Dandy. I'm in Richmond, California.
Okay.
I heard you, and this is being very specific to a question you just asked, that you just spoke about before Mr. Craig Ali did. It's about the president bringing in, appointing, or assigning people to different positions. He can appoint those, but the executive committee has to each vote on that. And the vote comes from the executive committee, not only the president, correct? Did I say that correctly?
Correct. And let me give you the balance, because I want to be clear. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. Mm-hmm. What the executive committee cannot do is hold the president hostage until they get the person they want.
Or vice versa.
Or no, I was about to flip that. Okay. Or vice versa.
Sorry.
And you have an active state conference that will help you mediate that process. But those positions need to certainly be filled. Mm-hmm. And it is the duty of the president to bring forth a list of candidates for consideration before the executive committee.
Can the executive committee or members of the local branch bring in or ask to have others appointed to particular positions if the president does not have anyone to place in those positions?
You need to talk to your president.
So, okay.
So let me, and I'm going to give you, this is great because I'm right on the slide. I mean, I couldn't have paid for this. So let me get to this, and I'm going to try to answer your question. Okay. And if I don't, just remind me. All right.
Okay.
So we do this work through a number of standing committees, and I say active standing committees. And so there are about 20. Okay. Oh, great. I like that too. All right. So we do this work through active standing committees, and there should at least be 3 members on the committee. Now I stop by saying this, and this is a Carmen rule. You will not find this anywhere in the book. Okay. I'm gonna say that again, and I hope everybody heard me. It should not be your best friend and your sister. That is not a committee. You have to be able to find 3 people, if you are a committee chair, that are as passionate about something as you are. If it's education and you're really passionate about education, there's no way you don't know 2 other people who are as passionate as you are about that topic. That's the only way your committees are going to really grow. I'm saying no less than 3. It should really be more, because you're pulling people with an interest toward a subject matter. And you should meet monthly. Now, let's say there is a standing committee that does not have a chairperson, and you know someone, or you think you know someone who would be wonderful for that committee, and your president has not put forth any names. I would suggest you having that conversation with your president, submitting that person, allow them to talk to each other. But the growth of the committee structure is a great way to grow the numbers in your unit. Just think about it. If every committee chair had to add 3 people to their committees, you would never really have to worry about that 50 member benchmark for compliance. The other thing that I take particular exception to, if there's a branch, there should be a youth council. I mean, I come from a huge family. We could have a youth council just with my parents' last name, my surname. It's not that difficult. It's $10 a person. Really, we need to think about now. California does a great job for not only having youth councils, but often funding their work. And so I don't want to beat up on you. There are lots of people that struggle with just finding 6 youth and college units, and that is not the case in the state of California. This is a list of the standing committees that's listed in the bylaws for units. I'm just going to stop right there. It is an absolute menu of opportunities for folks in the community who talk about the issues that impact them most. And they have an opportunity to either join, or in some cases, maybe create a committee and grow your unit at the same time, so that you're addressing those issues that are most impactful. Yes, you have a question? Oh, no. Okay, I'll go to the next. So I thank you for this weekend. I thank you for providing training. This is to the leadership of the state of California, the Conference of California and Hawaii, for providing training to their leaders. Every officer, every executive committee member elected at large should be trained. And whether you do that now or you join the training that'll be happening in February, everyone should go through it. The other thing that has to happen is that you've got to have a budget. What's the second thing we get in trouble about? Folks spending money that wasn't approved. If you take the time to have a budget that's approved by the executive committee, your year will run smoothly. So just take the time and do it. The last thing is, before I even say it, it comes out of my mouth, I will just admit it. We have not done our due diligence to make sure that we have been responsive enough to you in the area of membership. We're doing a number of things to try to correct that. We were on track for a while. We were about 30, 45 days out for getting membership cards. I realize now that we're 3-4 months out, and that is absolutely unacceptable. And so while we don't want you to hold memberships, because that's counterproductive, on top of what we're doing now, which we have to correct in the national office, we really want us to move forward in a way that's reflective of the type of organization that we say we are, that we have power behind the 5 letters, that we can move forward and be proud. So give us some time. I'll talk about one thing that we're doing to get past that when we get to the end of this presentation.
I'd like to ask the question, please.
Certainly.
Yes, I'd like to ask the question about the membership because my name is Bessie Bell. I'm with the Lake County California NAACP in 87. I'm the treasurer. But my thing is about the membership. In fact, they sent me a card. It wasn't due, and they had sent it to Miami or somewhere, and they finally got back to me. So they're not putting the right addresses on the membership, and they're sending a personal membership that already have a card.
So
Well, what do
let me address both of those things. What was happening actually for those, and I'm sorry, thank you for the question. We were using a fulfillment house that was actually using the right address, the wrong city and state, but the right zip code. So if you know anything about the postal service, quite frankly, as long as you have the address and the zip code and the name, it will get to you. It doesn't appear on the card, it appears on the envelope. It does not make it right. We still have to clean that up. That's number one. Number two, we realized in this transition, the national office has been through a transition where we have a lot of new staff. But in the interim, there was a period of time by which we were not sure if membership cards went out. To address that, we resent them at our cost. And so there are some individuals who received double cards, some people received 3. But in that case, we would rather be safe than sorry. So as we grow, I'm going to ask you for some grace as we relaunch this department and relaunch our processes so that we not only get them to you quickly, but more efficiently. So what you said was absolutely correct. And we have to move in a new direction. But thank you for your question.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So here it is. We're now on this this slide before us. You need to really think about whether or not you're going to have a regular audit for your financial process. We've got to move in transparency. We've all been in a COVID reality. The other complaint that we get often is that members do not get a chance to see the finances. There are times not only the executive committee doesn't even get to see it. It's held by the president and treasurer. And we should be reporting in a way that our membership feels as though we are worthy stewards of their finances. This is not a sorority. I am a member of the Divine Nine, and we take off some months, you know, we vacation a little bit. But racism does not take a holiday. And so we're going to ask that the units meet at least once a month, because you are the place where people have to go when they have issues in the community. And if your doors are closed, where will they go? If you're going to have a meeting, then have an agenda. And if you're going to have an agenda, it's not just an agenda. Make sure that your executive committee, your standing committee has submitted written reports for their meetings. They're meeting monthly, and they have submitted those in a timely fashion so that you don't have people just sitting up there rambling. Because no one wants to go to a 3-hour branch meeting. No one wants to go to a 2-hour branch meeting. But your meetings will be concise if you have a thorough agenda. The worst thing you can do is for someone to be a visitor and come to your meeting and you all spend an hour, you didn't have an agenda, talking about, I'm going to say it, the chicken dinner for the Freedom Fund. We have got to get past it. Because that is not the work of the association. We'll talk about freedom funds, but that's not what it's about. You need to be creating year-end activity reports. If you're doing it monthly, that's not a problem. Your state conference and your regional office, there's no reason why we should be hunting down what you're doing in their community. And also you'll say they never highlight what we do. Well, you never tell us. And so if you're submitting those monthly reports, folks know. The date that is most endearing to all of you is March the 1st. By March the 1st, your annual report should be in. If it's not in by March the 30th, if March the 1st, you're assessed a $100 penalty. If it's not in by March the 30th, oh, I thought I went to the next slide. I didn't. I'll talk about that. You, the president and the treasurer will be suspended. I stopped there for just a pregnant pause. Okay. So let's talk about compliance. Compliance is one of those things that allows you entree to other things within the association. A branch must have a minimum of 50 members at all time. File their year-end financial report by March the 1st. Pay any state area conference assessments. Provide a copy of their year-end financial report. File quarterly written reports. And your youth council and your local college chapter should be actively involved in your meetings. Here it is right here. I just talked about that. Last year, we were a bit relaxed in that. We probably will not be as much this year. If you don't file your report by March the 31st, both the president and the treasurer are automatically suspended and shouldn't perform any duties except filing that report. Once that report is received, they shall be reinstated. But what does that mean for you? Quite frankly, many of you were panicking last year during the national convention because this was really the first year we checked compliance for participation in the way that we did this year. Because we have Salesforce, because we're able to look at the status of members and the status of units, folks were a little jittery. We had presidents and secretaries and treasurers who had not paid a membership. Some had not paid a membership in multiple years. So it's really time. If you are a president, if you are a vice president, please check your membership. Okay. This is just for me, and I'll share it with you. What gets measured gets managed. So even in your local unit, make sure that you have benchmarks and outcomes, not just outreach. So what's the difference? Outreach is we saw, oh my goodness, there must have been 1,000 people here. That's great. But what did you accomplish with 1,000 people? How many people did you sign up for membership? How many people did you get to volunteer for your next event or committee? How many people did you get to sign on or get to call a local legislator about an event? Make sure that you're not just involved in broad outreach, but that you also have outcomes that can be tracked along the year. And you'll see much better success for your unit. I want to look at the time because I want to give you some time to talk. The national office has had the problem of having silos. Silos are for grain and not for people. We are much better when we are inclusive. And so be real intentional about providing opportunities for new voices, old voices, other groups to be around the table and to work together. The worst thing we can have said about us is that I went to go join the NAACP and they just ignored me. Or I tried to speak and they kept saying, you know, you're not recognized. How are you going to get new people engaged in the process? They may not know Robert Rules of Order. They may not know anything about our Constitution. How are you going to get them to work? Don't use the Constitution. Do not use Robert Rules of Order to exclude individual thought. Let's be more inclusive about how we do this work. And then you've heard me say it, if you've met me at any time, now is not the time for silence. We cannot work in silence. All of those different things. We're an organization that stands up and speaks out against injustice. So now is not the time to be silent. If you are a leader, but you're afraid to speak, you are in the wrong seat. It does not mean you should not be a part of the association, but our leadership cannot be silent, ever.
I have a question.
Certainly.
My name is Dr. Quinlan Strong, and I'm from a very small branch in Lake Elsinore, California, 1034. Uh, we've had this pandemic, and many things have hit the nation, and we are already a small county and city that struggles a great deal. Is there any national or organizational what's the word, leniency, financial leniency in regards to membership? Or is that a standard funding that we need to be monitored and take from individuals when we can?
Yeah. I hear you. So the question is, can you waive membership, correct?
Right, correct.
No. Uh, but let's look at this. Let's look at this a little bit differently. Um, can you go to people to sponsor members? Can you ask a couple of folks to grant $100 and pay for 3 members, or a company to give 500 because of the same reasons you've shared with me to cover the cost of membership for X number of individuals? Yes, you can do that. And actually, in this time, I think it would be um, appropriate to do so. The other thing that you can do is there's a split between the national office and the local branch. If the branch wants to waive their portion, although you can't publicize it as a lower membership, but that's another way you can give a give back if that's what you want to do locally. Okay. Uh-oh,
I have a question.
I missed one. Huh?
I have a question regarding membership. Since this has been the COVID pandemic, is there any plans to have a special on the lifetime membership dues?
Well, you know what? There is something special coming up that I think all the units will get excited about. I cannot announce it until after the board meeting. And so I'm
Okay.
sitting here trying to be, I know your state president, Rick Callender, is sitting back saying, won't you say it? I can't say it. I can't say it. But in about 2 weeks, there will be an announcement that I think will make a lot of people happy. Okay. So there's also a thing about sharing the work that you do. And even in a COVID reality, we have the responsibility to share with as many people as possible the work that we're doing and the positions on our community that are important. And whether you are sitting on a board and representing the unit in one way, or you are sharing an editorial space, or you're speaking to the media, whatever the case may be, as leaders, and I'm going back to that speaking thing in a second, you need to make sure that people know what it is you are doing. Um, you cannot expect people to buy into the work of an association that they know nothing about. And so we've really raised the level of exposure nationally, but we need you to do the same locally as long as you are walking lockstep. Now, how does that happen? I want you to understand that the president is the spokesman for the unit. The vice president stands in the stead for the president if the president is unavailable. But there is one spokesperson for the unit. The other caveat to that is this: if you are the president of a local branch, you should not be speaking on a state-based issue. You should be speaking on local issues. Your state conference should be speaking on state-based issues.
Computer out. What's going on?
I can't hear Carmen.
You can't hear me? Hello? Okay, I guess it's okay. And with that being said, that's it for me right now. The one thing I'd like to leave you with, lots of people try to reach me. The best way to do it is send an email or send me a text. But we have also started virtual office hours for field and membership every Friday from 1 until 4 p.m. Eastern time. And we are going to have some evening hours soon to be announced. I shared the link with the state conference. I'm sure they'll send it all to you. I've seen some of you on calls, but they're members of the field team, members of the membership team, and today we had the entire IT staff, Salesforce staff available. And we'll continue in that vein. We're going to try to add finance. We've heard your cry that the national staff is not answering their phones. And so if you call in and you're a little patient with us, we take you one at a time and allow you to ask your questions so that we can provide you the best possible customer service that we have to offer. That is what's owed to our membership. So I thank you so very much. If you have any more questions.
Carmen, can I just go ahead and read some questions from the chat box, please?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours. I tried to answer as many as I could of
That's
what
fine.
I knew. The first thing is, are there any notes on integrating Robert's rules with Zoom functions like the raise hand feature or recognizing questions in the chat?
Not at this time. Look, I'm just going to be transparent. We've had a hard enough time getting people to understand how to use Zoom. You know, folks are still getting on saying, "Can you see me? Can you hear me?" No,
Right.
not yet. Mm-mm.
Okay, next question is, currently there are various grants to promote diversity and outreach programs available, but because our branches are 501c4, we cannot apply. Is there a way for branches to have national apply on behalf of the local branch?
So units do apply. They apply in conjunction with the national office. They submit their application. The finance and legal departments will review. They will sign on if it is something that fits within the mission of the association, and you get the pass-through funds.
Okay. And we have just some, is it possible to provide a copy of these slides so that we can use them to train our units?
Yep, as long as you don't misrepresent what's on the slide.
Ms. Watkins, first, I apologize for misrepresenting your promotion, and congratulations. the one
You gotta tell somebody. You gotta tell somebody. I'm sorry.
So Madam Vice President, the one question I have, and often people call their branches chapters. Why are we branches versus chapters? Can you make sure everyone understands that so they're referring to us correctly?
Yeah, that's right. So we use chapters to refer to our youth, our college units. So let's look at it this way: there's the national office, there are regional office, and then there are units. So branches, college chapters, youth councils can be units, right? So you're all units. So the state conference is a unit. The adult branch is a branch, the college chapter, and the youth council. There is some overlap between college chapters and youth councils because you can be in college or an out-of-school youth and be in the youth council. It's age limited. But if you are an adult unit, you are a branch.
Carmen, this is Betty. Can a president run for a elected office? What are the rules?
Yes. A president can run for an elected office. The president must take that consideration to the executive committee. The executive committee can say yes or no. If the executive committee says no, the president can then step down from the position while they are running for the office. If they win, it goes back to the executive committee for them to say yes or no. If they lose, they can come back into their seat.
Thank you.
Carmen, this is Bobby Bivens. I put a note in the chat to you regarding the 501c3 opportunities through TIDES.
Yes.
You didn't speak to that.
Okay, and I'm sorry I didn't have the chat feature on because all I see are my slides. I'm sorry about that. So there is the TIDES Foundation. For those of you who don't know, the TIDES Foundation was our pass-through financial intermediary for those who wanted to apply for a grant. The Tides Foundation does take a 10% fee. No, I'm sorry, 3% fee. A 3% free fee for administering that grant. People get a little uptight about it, but think of it this way. They become liable for the way those funds are allocated and used. You will then submit your reports to the Tide Foundation. They satisfy the terms of the grant for you. Now, the other option, we have become bigger and stronger, and we hope to bring, because we had so many issues with folks getting upset about the 3%, we're hoping to bring that process back in. If you need an immediate answer, Tides does limit the amount of the grant. So it has to be, I can't remember the amount, but if it's
20,000,
20,000.
Yeah.
Thank you. So if it's below 20,000, there still may be a grant opportunity for you. Those grants can go through our finance department.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I do have some hands and I've got questions going. Are there NAACP manuals and training guides on legal redress?
It has not been updated, but there is still one, I think, on field resources that you can pull down.
And will you be sharing the slides with us to share with the group?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. If you click the link in the chat box, everyone, the slide presentation will be in this link. Okay. Now we have some hands if we want to take those. Pauline Davis, you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Excuse me?
We have a Pauline Davis has the hand up. Okay, we're going to come back to you. Is it Jonathan George?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Hi, Carmen. Good to see you again. I understand you explained about the Tides Foundation being a fiscal sponsor, or us branches being able to apply for grants using the Tide Foundation or the National Financial Department. But what about if someone wants to make a donation, and because we're not, for the purpose of the tax write-off, and since we're not a 501c3, we can issue them a letter, saying that they donated to the branch.
You mean such as a $100 donation, or you're talking about a large donation? What are you talking about?
Yeah, like large donation. So we missed the opportunity on a $10,000 donation during the last summer. A lot of people were looking to donate money after the George Floyd murder. And we, of course, with that size, that large of a donation. And actually, I think they sent, they told me they sent it directly to National, so we should be trying to see if we could recoup some of that.
Absolutely, you should. If the letter came to you and it was intended for the unit, during that period of time, lots of folks sent it to the national office on behalf of a unit. If you should have some problems, send me an email. But we sent a lot of money back to units where donors gave. They may have given some to the national office and some went to a state conference or to a unit. Absolutely.
So should we should we just follow that rule of thumb? If someone want to donate, direct them to the national, and then the national will get them.
Well, I think you need to talk to them, make sure you stay in the loop, and then we'll connect you with the finance department who can work that out for you. Okay.
And then what's the significance of you asked initially with the dollar amount?
Yeah, if it's a $500 donation from a local person, they're not going to handle something of that nature. But if you're talking about a 10,000 donation, that's something different. That's all.
Thank you, Carmen.
Sure.
Okay, we have one question on the floor, and then we have James Thomas, and then Stephen. The question was, I believe, running for office. Do those rules apply to the vice president like they do the president?
I'd imagine so.
Yes. Okay. Okay. James Thomas.
I'm sorry, Carmen. I would draw your attention to the chat that I put in there, but my daughter. I'm a little distracted because my daughter was violently attacked and at a university in St. Louis, and I'm trying to reach the St. Louis NAACP president for the county of St. Louis. So
the county, the city, or the county?
The county.
Okay. Send me, can you send me an email? Let me get you some information, okay?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Okay, Stephen? You have your hand up?
Hi, yes, this is Cheryl Vines, San Luis Obispo County branch.
Right.
And I do have a question about donations from, different groups. They're asking us for a certificate showing that we are a 501c4. Is that something that we can get? We went online to the federal, to IRS, and we couldn't find anything. So is that something that we can get from nationals stating that, we are 501c4?
I think your EIN paper should say that, but certainly you should be able to get that. Just ask for it.
Okay, through national?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Pauline, are you ready to ask your question yet? If you want to unmute yourself.
Don't be shy.
Pauline?
Yes.
We can hear you. Do you want to ask your question? Did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. If you, I was voted in as vice president. Can a president just appoint the first vice and the second vice, third vice?
You were, wait, let me make sure I got this right. You were voted in as vice, right? Yes? Okay.
I was voted in, yes.
So now you are the first vice then, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that goes back to the question about the duty of their president is to bring forth the names that they are recommending for those other positions that are unfilled. And then the executive committee should vote to approve.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, could you briefly explain the difference between silver, bronze, and lifetime membership?
Silver, bronze, and lifetime. Oh, okay. Silver and bronze lifetime members, right?
They want to know the difference between the three.
Absolutely. Let me just, it's a cost, and we have several levels for individuals to pledge their support to the association. Sometimes we have items that go with that to encourage levels of giving. We always ask that if you are a life member, you move to the next level and support the association at a higher gift level. And that's what that represents. Thank you.
Okay, can you please give a reference for procedural info about who appoints to committee chair outside of election?
I'll send it to you. That's not a problem.
Okay, and then we have caller with their number starting with 650. You don't have a name posted, but you can ask your question now if you want to unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yes. Mike Levinson with the San Mateo County branch. Just a quick follow-up on the appointment process. Once the president has put a name forward and the executive committee is considering that name, we have a disagreement in our branch, not this year, I just want to make that clear, whether that person that's been nominated should be present during the discussion. Most of the groups I'm in do not have that person present, particularly if there's an objection. Is there something in the bylaws, not so much just an opinion, but as to what the right way is to do it?
Yeah, that's not in the bylaws. However, I think before you even bring names forward, you all, as a procedural rule, you can vote on how you're going to handle it so that if conflict should arise, that decision has already been made.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we have Crystal Jackson.
Yes, I needed to get clarification. A lot of my members asked the question for the lifetime memberships. The question they ask is, what is the perks? The bylaws doesn't show where you get any perks. So, and my answer to them is it's an investment. If you want to buy a nice car, are you going to pay $50 for it? You're investing in something that you believe in fighting justice. So what do you say to that regarding the lifetime membership?
I'm gonna have a twofold answer to you for that. First, I think you're absolutely right. This the purchase of a lifetime membership, anything above a regular membership, is an investment in the work that we do. And it's for people who believe that this is a necessary work. And whether you are talking at the national level or at the local level, it is also it's also a reflection of the work that we are doing. When it becomes hard to get people to sign on as life members, we as members have to be stronger about the work that we do so that people see the benefit. I am I now lead the membership team. I'm less about trinkets and more about providing tangible benefit to our members. So what does that mean? It's be easy for me to say for the silver or sustaining life member, I'm going to send you a t-shirt, and that's cute. But quite frankly, I'd rather provide you access to information that you often would not have. I'd rather provide you better training so that you can do this work in a way that's more effective. I'd rather put you up in front before leaders in this nation so that you're better armed with information. So it's about the investment in this association. It's about understanding that fighting the fights of this country require money. What you don't see often are the lawsuits that we file. And those lawsuits cost each and every day. And your $30 membership does not pay for that. Your your $750 membership does not pay for that in total. So we need continuously individuals who believe that the work of the association is meaningful, important, lasting, and changing the face of changing our communities. And so when you tell the story in such a way so they can see the impact, not to the trinket that they receive, but the impact that they can see in changing their community. Maybe they'll buy it, maybe not, but that's what we have to try. I thank you for your question.
We have 2 minutes and we have a few more questions if we can get through these. Ms. Dandy, would you like to ask your question briefly?
Yes, mine is really quick. I hope the Tides Foundation, I'm not new to NAACP, but I'm new to the executive committee. So there's still a lot of things that, that I still have to find out and figure out. But I'm one of those ones that asks those hard questions and stand up when they say no more questions. I got like 10 and I want them all answered. But the Tides Foundation, can you give me or send me more information about that? How all the
units,
branches can get information or funding from that? Because that would help
absolutely.
out a lot.
I will make sure that, let me write this down now. I'll make sure that,
Carmen?
Yes.
I'm Willie Robinson. I'm president of the branch where she is, and we've already activated Ties, so she just needs to talk to me.
Okay, that's fine. But I'll also make sure if there's someone else who doesn't have it, they can have the information on how to access Tides. Okay. Thank you.
Carmen, this is Naomi Rainey. Carmen?
Yes.
This is Naomi Rainey. Send me the Tide information because I've gotten mixed information from national staff. They said we weren't dealing with Tide anymore.
Well, that's what I was just saying earlier, that we're bringing that inside. And so let's talk about it as we move forward, okay?
Okay, we are at time, and I'm going to put in an email address. You can email all of the rest of your questions to this email address, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. We really appreciate you, Carmen, and all of this great information. She's going to send me the presentation. I'll drop it in the manual, and you will all have it.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. I'm so happy to see you doing this work, even in the midst of COVID. You all stay safe, and I hope to see you real soon.
Love you, Carmen.
Thank you. And we know it's late on the East Coast, right?
Yes, but Betty, I'm in Texas tonight, so it's still late. It's still late. It's still late. It's 9:20.
It ain't late.
It ain't late. I need to stop. I'll make sure, Betty, I'm gonna send you the presentation that you can share. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Carmen,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you, Carmen.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Carmen, are you
Bye-bye.
leaving? Is she leaving, Betty?
Yes, yes. We have to end the questions at 7:15 in order to finish out the rest of the presentation. At this time, based on the information that was presented and information that was in that is in the bylaws, I'm going to bring Lawana Bibbins up to explain the next and final session of this retreat. And she's going to explain the breakout along with Lorraine. So Lawana?
Good evening, everyone. Again, wasn't that fantastic overview that Carmen just gave us? Great information. And so, Lorraine, I'm going to ask you to put the chart up on the screen for me, because we're getting ready to do team building exercise, and we're going to work on some cases together. So what's going to happen now? For the next 30 minutes, we're going to break everyone out into different rooms. We will have a total of 6 rooms, and you will be working on some made up cases regarding the NAACP branch of choice. We will be putting the scripts in your room, I think. Lorraine, are they clicking in on the electronic manual?
Yes, if they go to the electronic manual and they go to the 3rd slide, they will see the case information there. They click the link to the case information and it'll bring it right up.
Okay, so we've already assigned, we will need a facilitator and a recorder for each group. We have a total of 6 groups. We have assigned that role. For room 1, it will be Roxana, the facilitator, and Stacy will be our recorder. Room 2, Lawanda, and the recorder is Patrick. Room 3, facilitator, TJ Campbell, and our recorder is Gianna. Room 4, Rashana will be our facilitator, and Wendy will be our recorder. Room 5, Deidre will be our facilitator, and Antoinette will be our recorder. Room 6, Jordan will be our facilitator, and Alan will be our recorder. You will have 15 minutes to go over the case that we put together for you, and then you'll get a warning. We'll let you know that you have 10 minutes to put your presentation together, that you will be coming back to present to all of us at the end. Okay, are we ready, Lorraine?
Yes, before I move everyone, just want to do a couple housekeeping rules. There is going to be a button in your room to ask for help, but we will be floating to come drop in your room just to make sure everything is going well. But there is a button to ask for help. We will also broadcast a message to you if there's something that we need to say. So please be on the lookout for that.
Sorry, I actually have a question before I let you out. I did not see in the packet the question for my breakout room. Room 3.
It's room 3, Lorraine.
Okay, so let me just quickly share in your packet. You have the 3rd slide. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Can you blow it up?
Yes, yes.
Okay, the 3rd slide, you have your breakout room classes down here, and you just click this. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
I also have
Okay.
a question in each individual breakout room, because it looks like the cases are broken out by letters, so A, B, C, D, E. Are we going to be given which one to read once we get into our breakout group?
That's what this chart is for here. So whatever room you're in, but your facilitator already has this information, and they're going to share with you what the topic is again.
Once you're in the room.
Okay, I'm going to now move, and Betty, Lawana, Carmen, and Rick, you're welcome to come back to the main session, please.
I
Okay.
just wanted to ask if the facilitators also have screen sharing capacity. Is that
Yes.
provided? Thank you.
Crap.
Take us away, Lorraine.
Okay, one moment.
I don't know what to say.
It really is.
Call them out. I'm gonna
Okay.
call them out randomly.
Okay.
Exciting. I can't wait to hear their reports.
Me either. Those were some great scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Started to come up with some more after I found out we were doing 6 groups, but you and I were doing so much. I was like, let's just stop.
Shannon, how do you have your camera connected?
Lorraine, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, can I ask you something? And this might be doing too much. So at the end of each presentation, can I have a poll? Is that somebody that came back, Jeanette?
Yes.
We're all coming back now.
Yeah, we're coming back. Yes, we're coming back.
Okay,
Everybody's
so
back.
back. Okay.
And
Am I
we're
in the wrong
upset.
place?
We didn't get enough time.
You
Yeah,
didn't get,
exactly.
You didn't have
How
enough
will
time?
I be able to get the notes from the note taker?
We can have them emailed to Lorraine and she can send them to you.
Okay.
You mean you need them now, right now?
I would want to see them before we have to present them.
Who was your note taker?
Hi, Liz.
Okay.
Thank you.
Antonisha.
Antonisha Williamson.
Antonisha.
Thank you.
Can Antonisha, I know you're savvy. Can you put it in the chat so he can pull it out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So TJ, was it that you guys didn't come to a determination at the end? Was it just dialogue or conversation? Was it different than in person, or what was the?
I just think we lacked the time. I was bouncing around. I got in there probably about 10 minutes late, and I think we didn't have the time. But I do think knowing the difference between in person and virtual, I think the discussions was just as animated and heated.
Am I
So
supposed to be in this meeting?
We're bringing
Y'all come
everyone
back.
back.
Yes,
Oh.
you are.
That's
Yes, you
That's
are.
what I just
yeah,
asked
sorry, we're
for.
just
I
kind
don't
of
know.
talking through the meeting.
Am I in the right meeting?
It's the virtual experience versus the physical experience.
Right, right. I'll shut up so we can realize where we are.
Exactly.
Okay.
Lorraine, do we have everybody back? Are the
Are
rooms
they all back,
closed?
Lorraine?
I'm going to be placing everybody on mute now, except for Betty.
And Luana? So,
Let me check.
Leah. He want
You
give
hungry?
it, feed
You
it to
hungry?
him.
Okay, we should have everybody now.
okay, great. We almost had everybody come back. Okay, cool. All right, Luana, I am going to hand it over to you for the final phase.
Okay, so is everybody excited? I know you had a great time. I see the excitement on your faces. Yay. So we're gonna start with group 6. Group 6. Jordan.
I am here.
Okay, Jordan, your team, you and Alan. So can we highlight those two, Lorraine? Jordan Walker. Or does he just need to start speaking?
Yeah, you just have to
Why
start
don't you just go
talking
ahead
and-
and start
Okay.
speaking, Jordan?
I
Okay.
thought he was going to share his document, his Word doc. The recording.
I was the facilitator for room 6. I don't have the notes with me, but I can remember the conversation pretty well. We're just supposed to report like what we talked about and the solution we came to, right?
Right.
Okay. So our problem was essentially about the election of a youth advisor and the dispute between the adults and the youth council on whether the youth council should be able to or is able to appoint their own youth advisor, or if the youth advisor was selected by the adults. And our first solution was obviously to look at the bylaws, and the conclusion that we came to is that the easiest way to put it is that the adults can like present a few people to become youth advisors, but after all that's through and through, the youth council is who selects the youth advisor for the youth council.
Wow.
And just to, I'm sorry, just to add on that, you done a great job, sir. I was the facilitator. I do have the Word doc. We jotted down a couple of things. Once again, the first thing was to check the bylaws. The second thing was because the president actually locked the doors and changed the locks on the place where the youth meet after they had this kind of butt head. So we were actually talking about, does the president have the right to change the locks on the place where they meet? The third thing we will make sure is that the secretary does have the ability to document all the actions, both from the youth branch and the adult branch, eventually getting proper area directors involved in order to mediate them. All problems with the organization should stay inside within before we even attempt to go to any outside entity. And then last but not least, to make sure that we get the youth director, Santa, Miss Austin, involved in including her in all correspondence between both parties as far as the youth.
Okay.
So that was the things that we came up with.
So if we all agree with group 6, let's see you give us a approval.
Excellent job. Excellent job. Okay.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's go with group 2. And this was LaWanda Lyons Pruitt. LaWanda, present your case.
Okay, well, our case was the creation of NAACP Foundation. And so we have a better word, a renegade unit who thought that they could create a unit with another organization and that they would split, so create a clinic, for instance, a health clinic or whatever, and then say charge $50 per person and split the profit 50-50. First of all, number one, direct services. Number two, we didn't have a lot of time to talk about it. My recorder wasn't there, and then we had another recorded, and then my recorder, and then my screen went black. I got back in, but for we have a lot of experienced presidents in the room, and a Hawaii state conference president, and so in short, we said nip it in the bud right away. You get the state involved, you get your area director involved. You never get from point A to B because you're going to get the state involved, and it's not going to get that far to where an organization and that partnership is actually formed. So you don't have to deal with a 501 C3 because you're a C4, and you're not going to have to do with the formation of a C3 because it, first of all, it violates the bylaws, and the only one who can give you that status is national. And so anyway.
Okay, so did you all see any action against the officers? Was that a consideration?
We kind of thought it was a training issue, and that the officers needed to be trained, but obviously there was one person who was pretty experienced who was objecting to everything. And she also had the option where she could have gone to the state, she could have reported to, I wouldn't go to national before I go to my state. And so anyway, we felt it should have gone to the state. You know, you got your area director, then you got your director, then you got your president, but there are people that you can use your chain of command with before you move up the chain of command.
Great. Do we agree? Great job. Awesome. Okay. Next group, Roxana, case of the elections gone south.
All right, thank you. I'm going to invite my colleague, Dr. Crystal Jackson, to do the share out for our group here.
Okay. Our exercise, we had the election. They had the committee set 5 days notice, and the state sent back a notice saying that we were going to do an electronic election, and the secretary got the keys to the PO box and would not release them, I think was the scenario. So in our discussion, the conclusion that we came to was that this issue should go first to the area director, not to national. You start from the bottom and go up. If you have an issue and you can't resolve it within within your branch, you go to your area director, and then your area director would speak with your state president, and they will probably end up taking over the election from there.
Right. Do we all agree with this group?
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
agree.
Rashana Williams and Wendy Berg, let's hear your response to the elections gone south. Rashana, are you there? Or Wendy, were you the facilitator?
I was the facilitator, Roxana. Thank you. I thought you were saying someone else's name. For the elections gone south?
Well, there were two groups that worked on the elections gone south. So
I did not know that. Okay, my apologies.
Yes, no, I'm trying to call them.
Okay.
I'm
It's
trying
like
to
our
call
names sound very familiar, very similar, I should say. Roxana and Rashonda. I mean, they are similar. So thank you.
Rashana, are you there? Okay, so let's move over to TJ Campbell, case of the Youth Council. What did you all come up with, TJ?
Okay, so we discussed it, and some of the steps of reconciliation was talking to the executive committee, having someone call an executive committee meeting just to shed light on the issues regarding the bylaws and how to rectify them, because it didn't seem constitutional on kind of both sides, right? From what we came up with, and I heard this different in the other presentation, but we believe that the president appoints the youth advisor and it's approved by the executive committee. So that was an issue that we had. We weren't sure if there was already a standing youth advisor when the youth president and the youth council elected their youth advisor. Was there any communication? So there's just some things that we didn't have enough time to kind of work through and information to work through. But basically, what we said was that the youth advisor, depending on if there was someone in place or not, you don't want to turn people away. So if there is no youth advisor in place, that president, the youth advisor, and the youth president should have some level of discussion along with the executive committee to create that workflow and get everybody back up and running. We also said that it would be important that everyone addressed it within the branch and not take it outside and spread your dirty laundry. And that was pretty much it. And then we also talked about bringing in the area director to help guide us through there if because we just thought the locking of the doors or changing the locks was extreme on the president's side. So we didn't know how are you going to work through that, because that seemed a little personal. So we definitely want to bring someone in like the area director or someone who could actually mitigate those things. And then, if possible, work with the voted youth advisor, because obviously they have some relationship with the particular youth. We didn't want to discount that either. So our solution was really to bring everybody to the table and figure out a way to work together.
Okay, I'm going to call on Greg Jotler. Yeah, let's give them a big round of applause for their presentation.
Can we get clarification? Because
yeah, I'm going to give you the answer to this right now.
All right, perfect.
State Youth Advisor Satia Austin, are you on?
I am.
Okay. let's give the answer to that, and then Dave Smith, one of our area directors, he wanted to comment. But go ahead, Satia, and would you give the response?
Yes. So I kind of heard two things. And so depending on what came first, the only way the branch president would put somebody in place as an advisor is the unit were not activating. They're just activating for the first time. They don't get to choose that if it's already in existence. It has to be a vote process of the youth body to be able to do that. Now, the bylaws say that you can submit up to 3 names to the branch president. They have up to 15 days to say why they do not or will accept that, but and nowhere in the bylaws does it say they still get to choose who their advisor is. And people have that misconception.
So say that one more time.
Okay. So only time a president can appoint an advisor if they're now reactivating or chartering a unit. But if there's already a unit in place, they will elect their own advisor, and then they will be able to submit those names, up to 3 names, to the branch president and the executive committee. They have 15 days to put it in writing why or why not they'll accept those names. However, they still do not get to choose who the youth advisor is. That is their choice and their choice alone.
Great answer. And that one gets to be a little tricky. So that's why I wanted to bring her on for that answer. So thank you, TJ. And I hope that helped.
It did. Thank you.
Okay. Dave, you had something?
Yeah,
Dave?
I just wanted clarification as well. That's the only reason I raised my hand.
Okay, great. Deidre Davey, case of the newly created NAACP Foundation.
So Deidre was in another one, I think, and so we were looking for, they got switched tails. So I actually had to help facilitate that. And
I created the Word doc. So if you allow me to share the screen, I can share the screen.
Yes, I was going to give you a leeway in that you were going to have to report back. So you're going to do all that. So we had the same case. And what we did was we looked at a different points of view. And so a very healthy discussion. And then now Ms. Clark's going to kind of give an overview of what we thought. Ms. Clark?
Okay, can you give me access to share the screen?
Lorraine?
You have access. Everybody has access.
Oh, it doesn't say, let's see here. I'm looking here on the right hand. It doesn't say share screen. Let me see here. At the bottom?
It should be at the bottom. If you hover your mouse over the bottom, a menu will pop up.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Let's see here.
There's a green.
Oh, I see it. I see it. There you go. Can you all see it?
Yes.
The document here?
Yes, ma'am, we can see it.
Okay, so actually we had identified the following infractions, and I actually came on late because I was in the wrong room. So is it Sashia?
Satia.
Oh, Satia, you may want to elaborate on what we talked about, but I took the notes of the following infractions. Was post office box should not be rented in a person's name. It should actually be rented in the name of the organization. Failure to give proper notification of the election. They didn't give proper notification in advance of the various elections that were taking place. The secretary, her not wanting to give up the key. And then also the candidate should not have a key to the box for the election. And then the nominating committee did not follow the directions of the national. They didn't follow the process properly. The secretary, she should not have been a part of the election process if she's going to be running for the president's position. And then also she should not have made a police report. And then there seemed to be no separation of duties. So the solutions that we came up with was the president should use the chain of command.
It should follow Articles 9 or 10. And then if there's no resolve, contact the state president. Also suspending the election since the fraud was since it was alleged as a fraud rather, and then conduct an investigation being led by the national and perhaps using an independent body. And then the last one that we had was report the findings based on interviews of parties and other witnesses. So Satia, do you wanna?
Yeah, it seemed like it was a lot of stuff going on. Some things are out of order, but you guys kind of get the gist of it. So they were saying what other solutions could have possibly happened versus calling the police and getting an injunction without letting national know, and then not using the chain of command, and also if need be going to the state president. So those were the kind of the order. It wasn't those specifically, excuse me. But again, like I said, that we identified that there was multiple problems. And then we weren't very clear about what the post office issue is. That the elections, the supervisory committee trying to rent the post office for that time frame, but then all of a sudden the secretary not wanting to give it up for while she was running for president. So we saw a lot of training issues there, and so we definitely want to make sure we use the chain of command because evidently it got bigger than what they could handle.
All right, can you stop sharing your screen? Thank you. Great job. Let's give them a big round of applause. It looks like they had their bylaws and constitution in that room. So these were some great scenarios, and we wish we would have had more time to give you more. Did you enjoy what you did? Can someone speak to, just give us some feedback?
Yeah, my name is James Yard. I truly enjoyed it. And the process of learning the proper way to handle things and then representing the NAACP in a professional manner. So thank you. I thought it was a great training for all of us on how to conduct ourselves.
Great, thank you. I see Jacqueline Clark. She has her hand up.
Yes, I wanted to say, being a new member to the NAACP San Diego, this kind of helped learn some of the rules, the bylaws, and the Constitution, and to just hearing the scenarios. So I like the exercise, and I think it would be good to continue to do that because I think we'll always need reminders.
Right. DeAndrea Davey, I see your hand.
Yes. I thought it was good because it also helped with showing how we can have a civil conversation to come to some type of resolution or trying to figure out how we can best handle the situation to figure it out. So that's what I got from it.
Great. Ruben.
Yes, I appreciate it. I believe that we learn a lot through going through these type of situations, and by understanding what the branches go through, we're able to learn and we're able to develop. So that's the most important thing. I know in person it's way different than virtually, but I do appreciate this process because it allows us to understand how we should go forward, and it understands us as presidents and people who want to take leadership opportunities, how we should conduct ourselves, especially according to the bylaws. The bylaws is what we live by, and that's most important. So I appreciate this exercise.
Great. Is it Yolanda Williams?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. I really appreciated this whole segment. I think that it was insightful for us, and it helps us to recognize in the branches how decisions that we make that sometimes we don't think will affect anything really affects the entire organization. And so again, very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Hey, Mrs. I do have a question. Did we address the fact, could the president change the locks? In our room, we were kind of going back and forth. So did we address the fact? Is that?
I think the last group kind of gave you that the bullet points that they had in terms of the president was totally wrong for all of that. So.
Thank
you. President, I have a question.
Let's see. I was with Wendy. I think Miss Wendy was next, and then.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I thought it was a fun, interactive way, and these things are really real life situations that have happened, and so it's a lot of intermoving parts. So I think it was good to look at it in a in a kind of fun way.
Great, thank you. Ken?
Yeah, I think one of the good takeaways from each scenario is where you start in trying to seek a resolution, and that is with your area director. And instead of going straight to the national or going straight over here, over there, really start with your area director when you do have an issue or a problem, something that needs to be resolved.
Great, thank you. Lawanda? And then James.
Well, I have 4 points. Number one, you can forget about an Article 10 because National is not going to give you no Article 10, okay? You shouldn't be running to National. They want you to resolve things in your state and with your state conference. And so you shouldn't run to National. Secondly, these were just examples, but they do happen. You wouldn't believe some of the things that happen. I've been a president since 2007, and I can tell you're going to get a gamut of everything. But what you need to remember is that you have your state conference, you have your area director, now we have a state director, you have your president, and you have to take advantage of the people using the chain of command. The third thing, you need to read your bylaws. Everyone should have a copy of the bylaws. And it shouldn't be just the one that National has online. You should have a printed copy. I complained about it and they mailed me one for free. So you should make, and now I have 2. But it's important that you have your bylaws and that you read your bylaws. Anything come up, you should read your bylaws and you should know what those bylaws say. And the final thing is it's not about you. Anything that is happening with anyone or anything that comes up, it's not about you. It's not personal, and you should take the branch into consideration.
Wow, thank you. Great comments. Mr. Campbell, and then is it Miss Darty? I don't have my glasses. Dandy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for everybody. I really enjoyed this meeting. I wanted to thank you guys personally, the speakers, the facilitators, just for taking the time out and, you know, just taking your life in this pandemic and just sharing this information. Just like some of the other folks said, these are real life scenarios and situations that we are facing right now. Some of us are brand new, like myself. We have the heart, but we're still learning. So when we got mentors and people that have been doing this, that are willing to take the best practices and share it and enlighten us, I just want to say thank you guys from Victor Valley, Victorville, California. We greatly appreciate it. So thank you guys.
All right.
That's it.
Okay, well, real quick, we have the standing, and then I think Mr. Carter and Miss Austin will be our last comment.
Okay, this is Miss Dandy in Richmond, California. So I just want to get this all clear. I listened to all this again. I'm just going to reiterate until next year when I'm not new and I don't have to say that. I want to make sure when we're in a voting session and executive leaders are running for other positions, president, vice president, secretary, their hands should be off of membership lists, anything that goes around that, so they have no kind of way of getting or tampering or messing with any of those things. And on top of that, when you're in a branch and everyone is bickering back and forth and you have no one to actually go to because everyone uses their title and their position as I'm the only person you can talk to, or you have sides that everyone is a friend here, is a friend here. And I heard go to your area manager, then that area manager may be a friend with one of those sides. So, you know, things have tiers. So how do you kind of divide all those things when you're hearing go to the bylaws, go to the bylaws. And the bylaw is a black and white piece of paper. And when you have real issues, which I'm pretty sure, and it may just be me, that have issues with talking to a person that does not, because they're probably higher than you, does not give you that position to say exactly what you need to say or try to resolve everything because you don't have that platform. How do you resolve that and where do you go?
I'm going to be happy to talk to you offline. So I'm going to put my email address in the chat and you and I can talk because they're getting ready to kick me offline and I want to give a couple of people an opportunity to finish up. So I will put my information in the chat and my telephone number and we can talk. Okay. And I think the last two were, was it Mr. Carter and then Miss Austin? Is that
Yes,
what?
ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. First, I actually have two different questions. The first question I have is it possible for the branches, maybe down to the secretary, to get an organizational chart that would go from, that would show the organization from the branch level all the way up to national? That kind of gives us a little bit of insight of how the different layers and who like our representatives are. I don't know if there's something out there, but if it's good for us to get, that'd be great.
There is, and if you will email me, I'm putting my email address in the chat. I'll be happy to send that to you.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question I have is, so now that memberships can be paid directly to national, and then national will, I don't know if it's quarterly, if it's every other month, they reimburse the branches their portion of that membership. Is it possible to have national correspond those fees that they're sending back to the branches with like a list of the membership so that way we can reconcile and make sure that our books are in line? Because we'll just get funding but not know exactly what it's for or how many members.
Since you're the last comment, Satia, and I know we're going to say the same thing, so you can give the response because I know you know the answer. So go ahead.
So unfortunately, that's a no. We used to have something called an overage sheet that gave you those printouts, but now that we've gone to Salesforce, that is not possible. So even if national gets that to, they go straight to national, whenever they get that turnaround, they'll send you the direct deposit and then you have to look through Salesforce to see if you have some different names in there. Unfortunately, that's what my secretary is going through. So that's a no. So, but however, keep putting the request in and saying your issues. And so maybe they'll get to our needs and they'll fix that. So that's a hopeful. What I wanted to say, and I think the lady next to you, Calvin Leach, had her hand up for a while, Ms. Bibbins, I'm not sure. But I absolutely love these kind of platforms. And I think, even though I'm not the one orchestrated, I thank everybody for participating because you're right. This is a black and white book. Yes, these are rules, these are guidelines we have, but unless you have best practices, you're not going to understand. Just like what I made the comment about the portion with the youth. You can look at that and automatically think you have carte blanche to do what you want with the youth. But unless you have somebody explaining to you and working it out with you and understand, you're not going to get it. So I don't want anybody to say, just look at the bylaws, ask somebody. And even though some people might feel that they're in a certain level or whatever, we're not. We're all the same. We're all volunteers who paid our membership. So we're members and we're doing this thing for the betterment of our community. And so, but it's okay to sometimes get a perspective from somebody else who's been doing it longer so we can start working together. And I don't know what, I'm not a person that has a chip on my shoulder at all. So I don't care about answering any question, but trust in your leadership, because if you don't always give us an opportunity, we can't be there for you. We don't know you have an issue. So I want to thank you all for participating. I thought it was fun. And I think this is the only way we can learn is do it together.
That's right. Thank you so much. And Miss Regina, you get the last say, 1 minute before they kick me off the screen. So Regina, your comment.
Well, I think the main points I was going to say, have you said, I will just say this: after 40 years of administration, you never know the right answer. What you have are people that can talk to you. Try to know as much as you can about what the book says, but the art and the skill of leadership is just that. It's skill, but it's an art. You will never have all the answers. Don't think you have all the answers, but try to build you a cadre around people you can call, your membership, and always start at the lowest level. And we have to realize people come into this organization at different levels of skills, sophistication, knowledge, but we can get the work done if we can communicate. So you're a leader. Don't give up your may need help, and just reach out and get it.
Well,
It's okay.
Ms. Bevins, were you calling me Regina or the other Regina?
Two Reginas, if you can be just really quick, Regina.
Okay. One thing I always like to say to anybody who's a new member is their way, your way, but it's the NAACP way. Know your bylaws, know your constitutions. That will be your foundation of building your unit and building it stronger. So know it. That's all I have to say.
So thank you all so much. You did an amazing job. Give yourselves a big round of applause because it was wonderful to have you all participate. And I'm going to turn it over to our executive director, Miss Betty Williams. And I think we have a final announcement.
We do. And so with that, I want to thank everybody, especially our technicians first and our president, because this is the first time. Normally, those of you who've been part of this organization for a long time and been presidents, it's normally only been presidents only. This is the first time we've included all the officers of all the branches. And that was the vision of our president. He wanted to make sure that the officers heard the same thing. And so that's why we had over 200 people that registered. So this is brand new. We have COVID, so we're doing online. So that's brand new. And so I would like for everybody to give the technicians, Lorraine and Shane, a round of applause for making this happen with 200 people and having to do this for the very first time. I think it was an awesome opportunity. We're going to have a great session tomorrow. I would like to invite Carolyn Ville Hunter, who is one of our co-chairs for our legacy dinner. I'm still thinking in the natural, right, Carolyn? We're going to sit down and have dinner. But Carolyn, can you talk about the legacy?
Prepare your dinner at home before the event. That's all the dinner you're going to get. Anyway, as your state treasurer and co-chair of the, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
As your state treasurer and co-chair of the 9th annual legacy event, we just want to remind you to please get your tickets.
No, I don't see you.
You don't see me?
Oh.
Let's mute everybody and just let Carolyn speak.
I'm sorry. I just want to remind everybody to, we've given a great discount for the branches and have great branch participation so far for our 9th annual Legacy Hall of Fame event, where we are inducting our President Emeritus, Alice Huffman. I think we heard Carmen Watkins this evening. We did not get to where we are today without the leadership that we've seen from her over the past 20 years. We've got an excellent program plan to give her a proper send-off as she's retired from the organization. And we want a real show of support and love from our NAACP family. So I encourage all of you, go to the website, and your branch discount code, in case you haven't received it somehow, is CAHINAACP branch. That is a $150 discount. We've got speakers all the way from the governor, newly inducted U.S. Senator Alex Padilla, also newly inducted Secretary of State Shirley Weber. We've got multiple members of the Legislative Black Caucus and representatives from Congress and everything. It's just a beautiful send-off to Ms. Huffman, because contrary to anything you might have heard, 20 years of serving this organization, and some of you have been president for 1 or 2 years, and you know it is a thankless job. I think I just put in the chat when someone said nobody's paid more. We're all paid the same as volunteers, nothing. So let's remember that, and let's give her a proper send-off and show her how much love we have. And also, this is a signature fundraiser for the state conference as well. And all the things that you're having today, what Betty has done and the staff that she's had, the technology team that she's had to put this together, is all paid for by the state. And this is one of our signature fundraisers to help keep the state office strong so that we can continue to serve you. I hope many of you have received the masks that we took the time to send to you so that you can do the community work that you do and keep yourselves safe and keep your community partners safe as we continue to work through COVID. And we just want to continue to give back to you. So we would just hope that you could give a little back to the state as well. So we're really looking forward to seeing all of you on Monday evening. Again, your branch code is CAHINAACP branch. Look forward to seeing you on Monday evening.
Is that all
Thank you, Ms. Carolyn Hunter. We're going to have the last word by our president. Rick, so that you all, for those of you who've been on for the entire time without eating,
Thank you.
we're going to bring on our president to say our final goodbyes until tomorrow morning, when we'll see you all again. Rick?
Hey, first of all, hey, excellent job to Betty, the staff, the volunteers. I know we're all volunteers, but we do have a few folks that are getting paid. They've done a wonderful job. Carmen did an excellent job. I hope this information helps you to basically be able to run your branch. I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow morning. We will have an executive committee meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm looking forward to being able to introduce you to your new officers and the folks that are going to be leading us basically for this next year and to making this organization more successful. You have a good evening. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 10 a.m. and look forward to seeing the executive committee at 9 a.m. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Luana, for everything. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Nice. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone.